Hey story lovers. If you're into mystery, suspense, and unexpected twists, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe, relax, and let's dive into today's story. June Park's heart pounded as the airplane descended over Los Angeles. From the window, he caught sight of sprawling city lights, an endless maze of roads and buildings stretching into the horizon. Coming from a small district in Seoul, this was his first time in America, a place he had only seen in movies and read about in books. Now, he was here for a job, a fresh start, and perhaps something more. The year was 2025. June was 24, tall, with sharp features and an earnest smile that reflected his hopeful spirit. His family had worked tirelessly to support his dreams. His mother, a school teacher, and his father, a small business owner, had sacrificed so much so he could come to the United States and build a career in tech. The journey wasn't easy. Applying for work visas, packing his life into a suitcase, and saying goodbye to his childhood home, all weighed heavily on him. But June was determined. This move wasn't just for him, it was for his entire family's future. As he stepped out of Los Angeles International Airport, the humid night air was a stark contrast to the crisp Seoul autumn he had left behind. He paused to absorb the sounds, honking cars, distant sirens, and the chatter of travelers. Everything felt foreign, but exciting. June's new apartment was modest, located in a bustling neighborhood not far from downtown. It was a small one-bedroom unit in a high-rise building filled with young professionals like him, immigrants chasing the American dream. Though simple, it was his sanctuary. The next morning, June headed to his new job at a mid-sized tech startup. The office was filled with cutting-edge technology, bright minds, and an atmosphere buzzing with innovation. Despite his nervousness, June's skills shone through. He was quick to learn and eager to contribute. One afternoon, during a tech industry networking event, June noticed a striking woman standing alone by the refreshments table. Her presence was magnetic. She was dressed impeccably, exuding a confidence that immediately caught his eye. Her name was Ariana Whitmore. She was the American billionaire daughter of a powerful business family. Unlike the typical socialite stereotype, Ariana was intelligent, articulate, and driven to make her own mark beyond her family's empire. She had come to the event looking for fresh talent to support new ventures her company was exploring. When their eyes met, a spark of curiosity ignited between them. June approached her cautiously, introducing himself. Their conversation flowed easily, discussing technology, cultural differences, and their dreams. Ariana was fascinated by June's humble background and determination, while June admired her sharp intellect and passion. Despite their vastly different worlds, they felt an undeniable connection. But reality was always looming. The challenge of long distance, the barriers of cultural expectations, and the uncertainty of blending two very different lives. As days passed, they met more often, at coffee shops, tech talks, and quiet dinners. Each meeting deepened their bond, but the weight of their differences stayed present. June knew the road ahead wouldn't be smooth. Ariana's family had plans and expectations for her, and he was just a young immigrant trying to find his footing. But the hope of a shared future kept him going. The new world June had arrived in was full of promise and challenge, and in this vast city, their story was just beginning. After the initial encounter at the tech networking event, June and Ariana's lives began to intertwine in unexpected ways. What started as casual conversations evolved into a bond neither of them had anticipated, a connection that went beyond culture, status, or distance. June's days at the startup became brighter with Ariana's messages lighting up his phone. Their exchanges started with simple work-related questions but soon blossomed into deep conversations about life, dreams, and fears. Ariana shared her struggles of living under the shadow of her family's vast fortune, where every move was scrutinized, and independence felt like a luxury. June, in turn, opened up about his journey from Korea to the United States, the sacrifices his family made, the challenges of adapting to a new culture, and his ambitions to succeed not just for himself, but for those he loved back home. One weekend, Ariana invited June to an art exhibition in downtown LA. It was a world far removed from the tech spheres they usually inhabited. As they walked through the gallery, admiring vibrant paintings and sculptures, the atmosphere between them shifted. Away from the pressures of their individual worlds, they found comfort in each other's presence. The laughter they shared echoed softly among the walls, and for a moment, the divide between a billionaire's daughter and a young immigrant seemed to fade. Their meetings became more frequent, coffee breaks turned into dinners, and short conversations extended into late-night calls. Ariana admired June's humility and earnestness, qualities rare in the circles she moved in. June was captivated by her warmth and intellect, traits that made her feel real and approachable, not just a symbol of wealth. Yet, despite the growing attraction, unspoken doubts lingered. Both understood the complexities of their situation. The distance between their worlds was more than physical, it was social and emotional. Ariana's family expected her to uphold a legacy, with plans of arranged matches and alliances. June feared that his immigrant status and modest means could never be enough for her world. Still, they pushed these fears aside whenever they were together, savoring the rare moments when nothing else mattered. One evening, as they sat overlooking the city skyline from Ariana's penthouse, June found the courage to speak his heart. "I know this isn't easy," he began, voice steady but vulnerable. "Our worlds are different, and there will be challenges. But when I'm with you, I feel like anything is possible." Ariana smiled, reaching out to take his hand. "I feel the same way, June. Maybe the differences make us stronger, not weaker. Maybe we can build something no one expects." Their eyes met, and the spark between them ignited into a flame of hope and promise. This connection was more than just attraction, it was the beginning of something deeper, a bridge between two lives that seemed destined to stay apart. But reality was relentless. The looming presence of family expectations, cultural divides, and the practical difficulties of distance shadowed their happiness. Still, in those precious moments, June and Ariana dared to dream of a future together. As weeks turned into months, the initial excitement between June and Ariana was tested by the harsh realities of their different worlds. The early thrill of their connection began to give way to doubts, insecurities, and the practical challenges of their situation. Ariana's family had grown aware of her closeness to June. At first, they dismissed it as a passing phase, a distraction from her responsibilities within the family business. But soon, their concerns deepened. To them, June was an outsider, an immigrant from Korea with little standing or wealth. They feared that his presence could disrupt the carefully laid plans for Ariana's future. Private conversations in the marble halls of the Whitmore estate revolved around how to protect their legacy and keep Ariana on the path they had chosen. Meanwhile, June grappled with his own struggles. Though talented and hardworking, he felt the weight of living in a foreign land, far from the family and support system he loved. Every success at work was tinged with the pressure to prove himself not just to his employers but also to Ariana and her world. The cultural differences were stark, and the fear of never fully belonging gnawed at him. The couple's attempts to bridge the gap were often undermined by the realities of long distance. Ariana's demanding schedule left little time for personal moments, and June's work commitments kept him focused on survival and growth. Time zones, work hours, and social obligations became barriers they couldn't easily overcome. Their conversations, once filled with hope and dreams, sometimes slipped into frustration and misunderstanding. Simple miscommunications escalated, and silence began to fill the spaces between them. Both tried to hide their pain, unwilling to admit that their love was being tested beyond their strength. One evening, after a tense phone call where words were said in anger and fear, Ariana sat alone in her luxurious apartment, tears streaming down her face. She felt trapped between her love for June and the expectations pressing down on her. The idea of a life divided by oceans, cultures, and disapproval seemed impossible to overcome. June, too, found himself walking the streets of Los Angeles late at night, questioning if his dreams were worth the heartache. The boy who had come to America full of hope now felt like a stranger in a strange land, losing the person he cared for most. Eventually, the strain became too much. A painful decision was made. They chose to part ways, hoping that distance might heal wounds and clarify their paths. Their breakup was bittersweet, filled with unspoken words and lingering what-ifs. Though apart, their hearts remained tethered. Both knew this was not the end of their story but a painful chapter in a journey neither was ready to give up on completely. The breakup was a quiet storm, brewing over weeks of tension, distance, and unresolved fears. Neither June nor Ariana wanted to admit that their dream of being together might be slipping through their fingers, but the weight of reality had become too heavy to bear. It happened on a rainy evening in Los Angeles. Ariana had just returned from a family dinner where whispers and warnings had followed her like shadows. Her parents, stern and unyielding, had made their position clear. June was not the man they envisioned for their daughter. They warned her of the sacrifices she might have to make for a love that seemed fragile, distant, and uncertain. June was waiting for her in the small coffee shop where they had shared some of their first meaningful conversations. He had hoped the rain would wash away the coldness that had settled between them, but it only mirrored the storm in their hearts. Sitting across from each other, the silence was deafening. Finally, June broke it, voice trembling but resolute. "Maybe this, maybe us, was never meant to be. The distance, the differences. I don't want to lose you, but I don't know how to fight everything standing between us." Ariana's eyes filled with tears. "I love you, June. But my family, my life here, it's a world apart from yours. I'm scared that love alone won't be enough." They tried to hold on, grasping at memories and promises, but the cracks were too deep. That night, they parted ways, not with anger, but with a heavy sadness that left both feeling broken and uncertain. For June, the heartbreak was profound. He retreated into work, burying his pain beneath long hours and relentless ambition. Yet every quiet moment was filled with thoughts of Ariana, the way her smile had once lit up his world, the warmth of her hand in his. Ariana, surrounded by opulence, felt emptier than ever. The loneliness of her position was stark, loved by many, yet understood by none. She questioned her choices, wondering if she had been too quick to let go of something rare and beautiful. Their breakup became a shared secret, a silent ache that neither could fully express. But life, as unpredictable as ever, had plans that would challenge them again. Months passed since their painful separation. The seasons shifted, and with them, so did June and Ariana's hearts. Time, while it could not erase the memories or the love they once shared, softened the edges of their heartbreak, allowing space for reflection and growth. June threw himself into his work, determined to build a future where his past struggles no longer defined him. His startup began to gain traction, and his efforts caught the attention of investors. Yet, success felt hollow without Ariana by his side. Deep down, he knew that despite all the barriers, his heart still belonged to her. Ariana, too, underwent a transformation. Freed from the immediate pressures of their relationship, she explored her own identity beyond wealth and family expectations. She became involved in philanthropy, supporting causes that mattered to her, and found strength in independence. But no matter how far she traveled in her journey, thoughts of June lingered like a gentle whisper. Fate intervened one crisp autumn day at a charity gala in downtown Los Angeles. Ariana was there representing her family's foundation, while June had been invited as a rising entrepreneur. As they crossed the grand hall, their eyes met across the room, a spark reignited instantly, bridging the months of silence. After the event, they found a quiet corner away from the crowd. Words flowed easily, their conversation a mix of apologies, hopes, and renewed promises. They spoke openly about the challenges they had faced and the changes they had made individually. Ariana shared her desire to break free from the suffocating expectations of her family and live authentically. June expressed his readiness to face the obstacles ahead, no longer running from the doubts that had once held them apart. With cautious optimism, they decided to give their love another chance, this time with honesty, patience, and a plan to confront the distance and cultural barriers together. Ariana took a bold step. She invited June's family to the United States, opening her home and heart to them. It was a gesture that symbolized her commitment not only to June but also to bridging the gap between their worlds. June's family, initially hesitant, found warmth and acceptance in Ariana's world. Over time, the walls of suspicion crumbled as genuine relationships formed. The Whitmores, seeing the strength of their daughter's love and the character of June, began to support their union. Eventually, June moved his family to the U.S., and the couple planned their wedding, a beautiful celebration blending Korean traditions and American elegance, symbolizing the union of two worlds. Their marriage was not just a personal victory but a testament to love's power to transcend borders and expectations. Together, they built a life filled with mutual respect, shared dreams, and the courage to overcome any obstacle. June and Ariana's story became an inspiration, proof that love could flourish even when the odds seemed insurmountable, and that true connection was worth fighting for.